What if I told you that you could become a way more effective leader just by saying less? In this explainer on Michael Bungay Stanier's The Coaching Habit, we're going to break down how to do exactly that using just a few simple questions. So let's just dive right in with a question that, might hit a little too close to home for a lot of leaders out there. Are you working way too hard trying to help your team?
If you answered yes, hey, you are not alone. You might just be caught in what the book calls the overwhelmed manager trap.
So this trap, it's not just one thing. It actually creates these three kind of vicious circles. First, by always jumping in with the answers, you create overdependence. Your team literally stops thinking for themselves. Second, you get completely overwhelmed and end up being the bottleneck for everything. And finally, you get totally disconnected from the real, meaningful work you're actually supposed to be doing. Sound familiar? So what's driving all this? The book gives it a brilliant name, the advice monster. You know what I'm talking about. It's that gut reaction, that instinctive urge to jump in, take over, and solve every single problem for everyone. Does that monster ever make an appearance in your meetings?
And here's the tough love, the real reason we need to tame that monster. Stanier puts it so bluntly, your advice is not as good as you think it is. Ouch. But it's often true. When we rush in with our solution, we're actually preventing the best solution from ever seeing the light of day. And that's the one that comes from the team itself.
Okay, so if giving advice all the time is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's all about reframing what coaching even is. It's not some formal event, it's a simple daily habit.
Now this is a total game changer. The book argues that real, effective coaching isn't some hour-long formal meeting you have to put on the calendar. No, it's something you can weave into any conversation in 10 minutes or less. It's really just about choosing to be a little more curious, a little more often.
And the best part? You don't need a PhD in psychology for this. The book boils it all down to a few incredibly powerful questions. So let's walk through 3 of the most crucial ones you can literally start using today.
First up is what's called the kickstart question, and it is beautifully simple. What's on your mind?
This is your perfect opener. Why? Because it just slices right through all the small talk. It's an open invitation. It shows that you trust the other person to focus the conversation on what truly matters to them, not just what you think should matter. All right, let's move on to the next one, which Stanier actually calls the best coaching question in the entire world. And what else? These 3 little words are pure magic. The AWE question, and what else? It does 3 brilliant things all at once. It generates more options, because let's be honest, the first idea is rarely the best one. It buys you time to actually think, and most importantly, it's the absolute simplest way to stay curious and keep your advice monster locked in its cage.
Okay, so once you've explored a few options with and what else, it's time to get to the real heart of the issue. That's where the focus question comes in. What's the real challenge here for you?
The magic in this question is all in those last 2 words, for you. It instantly shifts the conversation away from being about some abstract problem or what other people are doing, and it puts the focus right back on what this person can actually control. This makes sure you're solving the real problem, not just chasing a symptom.
All right, so you've got the questions, but how do you actually turn this into a habit that sticks, especially when you're busy and that advice monster is roaring to get out?
The book offers a beautifully simple, 3-part new habit formula. It basically goes like this. When this specific thing happens, instead of my old habit of just jumping in with advice, I will do my new habit of asking one of these questions. And here's the key. That new behavior has to take less than 60 seconds. That's how you make it stick.
So what's the real payoff for all this work? I mean, if you build this habit, what does the new you, the leader who coaches, actually get?
Well, for starters, you completely break those vicious circles we talked about in the beginning. Your team becomes more autonomous, more self-sufficient. You get out of the weeds and finally have the time to focus on the work that really moves the needle. And, maybe most importantly, you reconnect with a much more meaningful way of leading.
Because at the end of the day, this isn't about memorizing a list of questions. The real secret sauce here is just building a habit of curiosity. It's a fundamental shift in your mindset.
So I'll leave you with the book's own final powerful question, which is designed to help you learn. Just take a moment right now and ask yourself, out of everything we just covered, what was the most useful for you? Answering that question, that's the very first step to building your own coaching habit.